Hello everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Create Astral Modpack. In the previous episode, we got our mechanical crafter all set up and ready to go. And we also built some crushing wheels to automatically crush ores, as well as got a dash system all set up, so now we have completely automated dash. So in today's episode, what I want to do is actually start getting and working our way towards the NASA Workbench. So if we go ahead and take a look at the quest log, you can see the NASA Workbench right here, and we do have a couple of quests to do first. But if we take a look at the actual NASA Workbench recipe, we can go ahead and look at this, and it looks like it's pretty simple. The only thing we're really going to struggle on, and something that we're going to need to make, is actually the navigation mechanisms, which require a few steps, pretty much the same machines as we've been building, just with a few different ingredients. So for this, we're going to need to put a redstone chip in, and we need to spout out some molten cobalt, electrum ingots, we need to deploy those and then finally press it, and that needs to go in 30 different times. So really it's not that much different from what we've been working on, but yeah, we are gonna need to make a few things in order to actually get the NASA Workbench up and running. First things first though, we are gonna need to make a few items here, so I'm gonna get a spout, and we don't actually have one. Interesting that it says that we don't have a copper casing. There we go. Let's see here. We also needed a deployer. Just need the brass hand there. I'm really enjoying having an applied energistic system right now because, yeah, this would have taken me so much longer before with the with just chests laying around. So, yeah, here we go. Block of iron, and finally the mechanical press. And we'll probably need a few other things like shafts and belts and that sort of thing. And we'll also need a smeltery system for this because we need to smelt down cobalt. So I just got to make a few bits of grout here, then we can turn that into seared bricks. So I'm just going to go ahead and make a few of these, and it should be good to go. Oh yeah, and something I forgot to mention, and it's mostly because I didn't notice, but I actually lost my pickaxe in the last episode, and I think what happened was that I threw it inside of one of the one of the grinders. So yeah, unfortunately I'm gonna need to make another one. I think I do actually have another one here, but yeah, I will have to eventually upgrade that with fortune again. So this machine's pretty much gonna be exactly how we set up the machine frames. I think it's literally the same thing, just different components. So I'm just gonna copy the design, and yeah, hopefully it's not too much different from that. It does kind of suck that we keep making the machine the same machine over and over, but honestly I don't mind it. And I heard from some of the people in the Create Astral Discord that this should be changed soon. So yeah, hopefully we get to experience some of those machines before this series ends. So we want redstone chips in here and cobalt in here. I don't actually have any cobalt smelted up, so I'm just gonna use the raw cobalt for now. And the last thing that we're gonna need is just some electrum. And all we're really going to need to do is combine gold and silver, and we already have a mixer that's capable of heating, so honestly I think I might just go with this and yeah, just use the one that we already have. No need to make another machine for it, I don't think. So yeah, I have this automatic one here that we just can throw a few of those in and right click the blaze burner. We do have to kind of keep an eye on it, but really I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. And let me just double check that I have the right cast in here. Yes, I do. Okay. So yeah, I just gotta wait for those to smelt up now. All right, so it looks like this recipe might be disabled because this has been in here for quite a while and it hasn't even started yet. So I think what we need to do instead is actually craft the Tesla coil, which doesn't look too bad. The standard machine casing might be a little bit a little hard to obtain, but yeah, what we need to do is basically charge a bucket of dash with a Tesla coil, and that should turn it into electrum. Hopefully that recipe is working, otherwise I might be stuck where I am. Alright, and I think that's everything we need for the Tesla coil. And now I just want to grab some copper wires if we have some, and to make sure they're insulated. And now, hopefully this won't eat up all of our power, but yeah, I think this is probably a decent place to put it, so I'll just go like that. Put it there. Probably need to flip it around though. Like that. Okay, we actually want it one higher, I think. So I'll put it there. Put it there, and then I need to get a... gosh, what are these things called? A depot, that's right. So we put that there, and then now, hopefully that's charging. I need to get a bucket of dash. And now we could automate all of this, but I don't know if we're gonna need a whole lot of electrum, at least right now. So I think what I want to do is just go ahead and melt some up, and possibly, and hopefully get a bucket of dash. All right, so I think I'm just gonna set up a very, very temporary system over here. And this is what we'll use to actually make our dash buckets. So I'll get some of those smelting. And if I recall, it's 6 ingots per. So, yep, we just got to keep smelting. All right, and I have my first dash bucket here. So now hopefully we can give this a test, and hopefully it works. Cool. I was expecting a little bit more fanfare than that, but there we go. There's our molten electrum bucket. So we can go ahead and get some XP from that. And I'm probably going to do this a few times because we're probably going to need at least a little bit of electrum. All right, and now that I have a couple of buckets of electrum, I think what I can do is honestly just put it in here, and that should automatically drain into there, which should come out into here. Cool. So yeah, that's a pretty easy way of getting electrum. It's not as easy as using the mixer would have been, but honestly, it's not that much harder. All right, and now that we have electrum, we can go ahead and turn these into nuggets and put them into this crude storage unit. And then this is our output. So yeah, now all I need to do is actually make the machine itself. And like I said, it's pretty much going to be exactly like the machine right next to it. Actually, it's exactly the same. So, and I did do this off camera, so I think I'm just going to kind of show you guys how this machine works exactly. So basically, we're going to want our melter up here. That's where the cobalt will go into. And we have the heater below that. A faucet on the side, pouring the stuff out directly into a spout. And this will actually go on top of a belt, by the way. Here we go, like that. We'll have a funnel here. So let's see here. Next, we want the deployer. And that will pull the electrum nuggets out. And then finally, we're going to have the press. And we actually want these two to be sort of facing that way. That way we can just run a single power line in there. And that should be pretty good to go. Next, we're just going to want a few of these crude storage units. These basically act as a pipe as we've been using them. Let's see here. Nope. Yeah, that goes right there. So yeah, this will basically filter out the ones that aren't ready yet and just pull them back onto the belt. And yeah, then they'll go back through and keep cycling through. And so yeah, we're going to need a few other things here. So we'll put a brass funnel on that one, and we need to flip that around. And then we'll add a filter to that, and that will actually filter out the incomplete ones. And finally, we just want the last funnel right there, and that will pull in the completed ones. And I think, honestly, from there, the only thing left is to give it power and to set up the filter. All right, I think that's the power completely set up. I'm just stealing power off of this one. I was going to steal it from below, but it would have been a little bit trickier, so I figured stealing it off of this would be fine. And yeah, so now I just need to set up these filters. And before I'm able to actually set up the filter for this, I am going to have to run the machine once. So I will do, let's see here, we want output on the back. Oops, auto output. Same for the cobalt, auto output out the back, as well as for the electrum, auto output on the back. And we want this to be auto input on the back as well. Oh, and I forgot to put coal in here. There we go. All right, and we have an incomplete precision mechanism, which is a little bit weird, but I'm sure it's fine. So we're gonna only allow these, and I gotta get on to the other side. So I can apply the filter there. Now if we go ahead and throw that back in, that should go in. Oh right, I need to... I thought I already did this. Input on the back, that should be fine. Ah, I see what I did wrong. I flipped these two around. So that should be the deployer there, whoops. Deployer there, and the mechanical press there. That should work there. There we go. Cool. And is that going back through? It is. Nice. Perfect. Here we go. Awesome. And remember, this needs to go through 30 different times, so I'm gonna be here for a while. And by the way, while that's working in the background, I kind of wanted to check on how our power situation is doing. And it looks like we're only at 24%, which is pretty crazy to think about, considering this entire factory is currently running off of just these 4 steam engines. So yeah, that's pretty good. And I don't remember if I mentioned it or not, but I did actually end up hooking up all of the steam engines together so that it's on the same network, and so that we can actually just look at one of these and it'll tell us all of the status. And by the way, these are all completely full of lava, so yeah, honestly 18 cauldrons might be too much, or maybe just right, depends on how you look at it. All right, I'm gonna go and check and see if these are ready. Oh, it looks like our first one is good to go. Cool. So we didn't get anything from that, but that makes us one step closer to actually being able to make the NASA Workbench. And honestly, at this point, we may be able to craft this. I'm just trying to take a look and see if anything is out of reach. And I think everything is pretty doable, so I think I'm gonna go ahead and yeah, make our first NASA Workbench. All right, and I think that's everything we need for the mechanical arms. And here's the display boards. And I actually need to make a compressor in order to actually make the obsidian plates, so I'm just going to make one really quickly here. I have pretty much everything I need. I'm just missing a few sturdy sheets. All right, and that's everything we needed for the compressor. And this does take power, so I'm just going to put it over here for now. And I'll get a couple of these dash sheets up and running. All right, and just double checking, but it does look like that's everything we needed for the NASA Workbench. All right, I've got everything that I needed for the workbench, and now I just need to put all of the parts in place. And okay, we might need to hopper the mechanical arms in there. That's a little weird. Here we go. Let's try it like that. Okay, yep, that worked. That's definitely interesting. All right, so that's that, and let me look at what goes in the middle. That's the display board, which was somewhere. Here we go. Then we wanted the dash plates on the side there, I believe. Navigation system in the middle. And our dash block, I believe, was in the middle, and capacitors on the side. If we hit the button, yeah, that's gonna go ahead and craft. And here we go. There is the NASA Workbench. We got a reward from the compressor. So yeah, there we go. That is one more step closer to being able to craft the rockets. And I think where I want to put the workbench is actually up here, because this is actually the spot that we're going to be launching our rockets from. So obviously I still need to finish the roof up here. Yeah, basically I want to add another building here, but I think this is where I want the workbench. And if we go ahead and take a look at the interface, there's a lot to do here. But if we actually go ahead and search up the rockets, I believe what we're going to want is the dash rocket. And yeah, this is going to require a ton of dash. Some rocket fins, a dash engine. Yeah, it looks like we're going to have a lot of nested recipes here. They don't seem too bad though, honestly. It is just a lot of dash though. But one thing that we're going to need before we're actually able to craft the rocket is actually a landing pad, or a launch pad, I should say. We're going to need 2 in total, one for where we launch off from, and then one on Mars that we can launch back to the overworld from. So if we take a look at the mechanical crafter recipe, yeah, this is, wow. That is a huge recipe, and that does actually only craft 1, so we will have to do this twice. So this is going to require quite a few of these sturdy sheets and blast-resistant concrete. And if we craft this, what does this actually take? Looks like we're just going to need some concrete powder, water, lime dust, and steel dust. And I don't think we've actually made steel yet. And that's just going to be iron and coal dust. Coal dust is just coal in a grinder, it looks like. And lime dust is just limestone in a couple of crushing wheels. That's pretty easy. So I'm going to have to go ahead and upgrade my mechanical crafter and get some of these other components ready, and then we will finally be able to make our launch pad. Alright, so I've just made a quick machine here, and this basically takes 3 different inputs and makes 1 output, and specifically it will make the concrete, let's see here, the blast resistant cement actually. So basically what we need to do is combine the concrete powder, lime dust, and steel dust, and that will actually give us the blast resistant cement. And I forgot that we actually need water in here as well, but there's not even enough sides for inputting water. I don't know how you're supposed to be able to do this. I guess we got to get rid of one of the inputs, but yeah, that's a little unfortunate, but that's all right. All right, here we go. That should start filling that up with some water. So basically, now we have a setup that's actually able to make the cement, but there is a few things that we aren't actually able to do quite yet, such as getting the steel dust. So in order to make the steel dust, we're actually going to have to make coal dust first, which is going to require a grinder from Tech Reborn. All right, and here we go, everything we needed for the grinder. And I think I'm just going to place it in here. Like I said earlier, a lot of these machines are going to be set up temporarily until I can get some actual power running through here. So I'm just going to go ahead and get some of this coal. I'll grind it up. And by the way, this process will actually yield us steel dust. And if we take a look at the uses for this, we can't actually directly make steel. We have to make a it into molten steel, it looks like, and it has to be superheated. But at least we don't actually need it for the concrete, we just use the plain old steel dust. And in order to actually make the steel dust, I'm just going to go ahead and throw this into our machine here, and that should start, mixing up. And that will make us some, oops, I need to put the ingot cast back in here. But yeah, that'll actually make the steel. Now, I don't know, I'm pretty sure, yeah, it'll just stay in here, but that's perfectly fine. So now we have the steel dust, and we also have lime dust as well as white concrete powder. So now we can actually make the cement. So I'm just gonna toss, I think it's just one of each, right? Let me just double check. Oh, it's actually gonna need a few more. Hold on. All right, I think I'm good now to actually put some of these items in. I had to go mining and get some more, some iron. Let's see here. Okay. Oh, right. This needs to be heated. Let me grab some coal. And yeah, I'm gonna have to knock this block out, I think. Here we go. Ah, I see. I forgot to configure this. And actually, that should be going out. Maybe I messed this one up. Out the right side, I think. So in. Here we go. Let's see here. Which side was it? The back. Now out on the right. Let me get rid of that menu. Okay, that should... Yeah, here we go. All right, let's get the steel dust back in and the white concrete powder, and here we go. Now, I did actually have to get rid of the mechanical pump here, or at least flip it around, because the fluid tanks were completely filled up with water, so I'm gonna have to add a smart fluid pipe on this later, but this is really more of a proof of concept. So hopefully that'll start going, and hopefully the right one goes out first here. And it looks like it's just taking the water out. These machines can get a little frustrating sometimes. All right, let me flip this back out. Hopefully that'll pull all of that water out. Let me just go like that. And now flip it around. And it's all the water again. Here we go. That should be the blast resistant cement, which once that fills up, it should start going out into the basin. And it looks like it's probably going to take a little bit more than that, actually. But it does say that it makes an entire bucket, which should be enough to fill a block, but it just isn't, I guess. Huh. Interesting. All right, so I got my first bucket of the blast resistant cement. Now I'm just gonna put it back through and actually let it, I need to put the basin there. I applied a filter here, that way the water can actually continuously flow without my manual input on it. And we should be able to fill an entire basin. And as soon as it finishes, I don't know how long it's gonna take. Looks like it takes a while. And now we have our first piece of the concrete. Awesome. It does look like we're gonna need 16 for this quest, but yeah. But I think I'm gonna do that in the next episode. And speaking of the next episode, I think we'll actually go ahead and finish the launch pads in that episode as well, and start gearing up and possibly even crafting our first rocket ship. And I don't think we're going to be able to get to the moon, or sorry, to Mars, but yeah, we'll get as close as we can. We're very, very close to actually being able to build our rocket ship and go to Mars. Anyway though, guys, thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you next time. Peace.